Emily Harper stared at the empty driveway, her coffee mug trembling in her hand as the taillights of her son's beat-up Honda faded down the suburban street. It was 7:32 a.m. on a crisp September morning in suburban Chicago, and Jason, her youngest, had just driven off to college 3 states away with no plans to look back. She felt a hollow ache rip through her chest, like someone had carved out her heart and left her standing there, wondering if this was what dying felt like. The house was silent now, unnaturally so. No more slammed doors, no laughter echoing from the kitchen, no arguments over who left the milk out. Emily, 52, with her sensible bob haircut and yoga pants that hadn't seen a class in months, sank onto the porch steps. Tears blurred her vision as she whispered to no one. What now? Who am I without them? Michael, her husband of 28 years, found her there an hour later when he came back from his early shift at the accounting firm downtown. He was a solid guy, broad-shouldered from weekend hikes they used to take as a family, but lately, his eyes carried the same quiet fatigue. Honey, come inside. It's getting cold. He helped her up, his arm around her waist feeling more like a lifeline than affection. Inside, the kitchen smelled like the pancakes she'd made for Jason's send-off, sweet and lingering, a ghost of normalcy. That night, they sat across from each other at the dinner table, poking at takeout Chinese from their favorite spot on Elm Street. Michael tried to fill the void. Sarah called earlier. She's loving her new job in New York. Said the apartment's tiny but the energy's electric. Emily nodded, forcing a smile. Sarah, their 25-year-old daughter, had moved out 5 years ago for grad school and never really came back. Now Jason was gone too. The nest wasn't just empty. It felt abandoned. Days blurred into weeks. Emily's routine, once a whirlwind of carpools, PTA meetings, and soccer practices, now consisted of endless scrolls through Facebook, liking photos of other people's grandkids or travel adventures. She worked part-time as a receptionist at a dental office in the Loop, but even that felt pointless, smiling at patients while her own world crumbled. Mornings, she'd wake up to Michael already gone, the bed cold on his side. Evenings, they'd watch Netflix in silence, the glow of the screen highlighting the growing distance between them. One Tuesday afternoon, after a particularly rough day where a patient yelled at her over a scheduling mix-up, Emily drove home in tears. She pulled into the garage and just sat there, engine running, until the carbon monoxide warning in her head made her turn it off. This can't be it, she muttered, gripping the steering wheel. That night, over reheated lasagna, she broke the silence with Michael. I feel like I'm disappearing. Like without the kids, I'm nothing. Michael set down his fork, his face softening. You're everything to me, Em. But yeah, it's quiet. Too quiet. He reached for her hand, but she pulled away, not out of anger, but because touching him reminded her of the life they built together, one that now felt like a relic. The turning point came during a rare girls' night with her old friend Lisa Thompson from the neighborhood book club. They met at a cozy wine bar in Wicker Park, the kind with exposed brick and fairy lights that made everything feel a bit more alive. Lisa, divorced and thriving in real estate, listened as Emily poured out her heart. It's like empty nest syndrome on steroids. I read about it online, but it doesn't capture the emptiness. Lisa swirled her Chardonnay, her manicured nails catching the light. You need something for you, Em. Not for the kids, not for Mike. Remember that volunteer trip I did last year? To Guatemala with that nonprofit? Changed everything for me. Woke me up. Emily laughed it off at first. Me? Abroad? I haven't left Illinois in years. But the seed was planted. That night, back home, she Googled volunteer abroad empty nest on her laptop while Michael snored softly beside her. Pages of stories popped up, women like her, rediscovering themselves through helping others. One testimonial stuck. I went to teach English in Kenya and came back knowing who I was again. By morning, she bookmarked a program with global volunteers, a 2-week stint in rural Tanzania, building schools and teaching basic skills. It was affordable, structured, and safe enough for a first-timer. When she told Michael over breakfast, his eyebrows shot up. Africa? Alone? Em, are you sure? I'm not sure about anything anymore, she admitted, her voice cracking. But staying here, staring at empty rooms, that's killing me. He hugged her then, tight and real, whispering, Go. Find what you need. I'll be here. Packing was surreal. Emily stood in her walk-in closet, surrounded by sensible cardigans and jeans, wondering what one wears to build a school in Tanzania. She chose practical, hiking boots from that family trip to Yellowstone, quick-dry pants, and a journal she'd bought years ago but never used. Sarah called from New York, excited. "Mom, that's badass. Send pics." Jason texted from his dorm. "Go get him, Mom. Proud of you." The flight was endless, Chicago to Amsterdam, then to Dar es Salaam. Emily sat by the window watching clouds drift by, her stomach in knots. What if she got sick? What if she couldn't handle the work? But beneath the fear was a spark, faint but real, the first excitement she'd felt in months. Landing in Tanzania hit her like a wave. The air was thick with humidity and the scent of earth and spices. At the airport, a van from the organization picked her up along with a handful of other volunteers. A retired teacher from Texas named Carla, a young couple from Seattle on their honeymoon, weird choice, Emily thought, and a widower from Boston named Tom who looked as lost as she felt. Their base was a modest compound in a village outside Arusha, with mud brick huts and a communal dining area under acacia trees. No AC, spotty Wi-Fi, but the stars at night were like nothing she'd seen back home. The first day, their coordinator, a local woman named Aisha with a warm smile and calloused hands, briefed them. "You'll help build a classroom extension at the primary school. Mornings, construction. Afternoons, teaching English or math to the kids." Emily's hands blistered on day 2 from mixing cement and laying bricks. She wasn't used to this. Her life in Chicago was emails and errands, not sweat and sore muscles. But there was something grounding in the physicality. Lunch was ugali and beans, shared with the villagers, who laughed at her attempts to speak Swahili. "Asante," she said shyly, thanking them for the food. A little girl named Zawadi, maybe 7, with braids and a gap-toothed grin, tugged at her sleeve. "You from America? Like movies." That afternoon in the makeshift classroom, 4 walls and a dirt floor, Emily taught basic English phrases. "Hello, my name is." The kids echoed back, their voices a chorus of enthusiasm. Zawadi sat front and center, her eyes wide. "My name is Zawadi. What is yours?" Emily's heart swelled. It was the first time in forever she felt needed, not just tolerated. Nights were for reflection. In her journal by flashlight she wrote, "Today I laughed, really laughed, when Tom dropped a bucket of water on himself. Michael would love this story." She texted him when signal allowed. "Miss you. This is hard but good." His reply, "Miss you more. House is too quiet without you." But not everything was uplifting. On day 5, a storm hit, torrential rain turning the site to mud. They huddled in the dining hut, sharing stories. Carla talked about losing her husband to cancer. Tom admitted his wife had passed 2 years ago, leaving him rattling around an empty Boston brownstone. "Empty nest? Try empty everything," he said with a wry smile. Emily opened up too. "My kids are grown, healthy, happy. I should be grateful. But I feel erased." Aisha overheard and joined them, her English fluent from years with volunteers. "In my village we say family is the tree, but you are the roots. Roots don't disappear when branches grow." It was simple, but it hit Emily like a punch. That night, she cried herself to sleep, releasing months of pent-up grief. The real challenge came mid-trip. Zawadi didn't show up for class one day. Emily asked around and learned the girl's mother was ill, malaria, common here but deadly without quick treatment. The family couldn't afford the clinic in town. Emily's stomach dropped. Back home you'd call an ambulance, no questions. Here it was a 2-hour walk. She rallied the group. "We have to help." They pooled money. Emily chipped in $200 from her emergency fund and drove Zawadi's mom to the clinic in the van. Waiting outside, Emily paced, memories flooding back. Sarah's appendicitis at 12, Jason's broken arm from soccer. Parenthood's fears never left you. The mom recovered after a few days of meds. When Zawadi returned to class, she hugged Emily fiercely. "You saved Mama. You my American Mama now." Emily held her close, tears streaming. In that moment the emptiness inside her cracked open, filled with something new, purpose, raw and real. But doubt crept in too. One evening after a long day, Emily video called Michael. The connection was glitchy, his face pixelated. "How's it going, adventurer?" he teased. But doubt crept in too. One evening after a long day, Emily video called Michael. The connection was glitchy, his face pixelated. "How's it going, adventurer?" he teased. "It's amazing but exhausting. I miss our bed, our routines." She paused, voice softening. "I miss you. I miss you too. But you sound alive. Like the old you." The old me? Who was she? The woman who organized block parties, who dragged us camping even when it rained. The one who made life happen. She hung up, staring at the dark screen. Was that who she was? Or had she lost that in the shuffle of motherhood? The climax built on the last construction day. The classroom extension was nearly done, a simple structure, but it meant education for dozens more kids. As they hammered the final nails, a village elder gathered everyone for a ceremony. Drums beat, songs rose, and they danced under the sun. Awkward volunteers mixing with graceful locals. Zawadi pulled Emily into the circle, teaching her steps. Laughter bubbled up as she tripped, but no one judged. For the first time, Emily felt seen. Not as a mom, wife, or receptionist, but as herself. That night, around a bonfire, Tom pulled her aside. "You've changed since you got here. Less shadows in your eyes." She nodded. "This place. These people. They've shown me I'm more than what I lost." Flying home was bittersweet. The plane touched down at O'Hare, and Michael was there, holding a sign like in the movies. "Welcome home, my hero." They embraced in the terminal, longer than usual, drawing smiles from passers-by. In the car, she told stories, the mud, the kids, the storm, her voice animated, hands gesturing. Back in the house, the emptiness lingered, but it didn't swallow her. She unpacked souvenirs. A beaded necklace from Zawadi, photos of the school. Over coffee the next morning, she said to Michael, "I want to do more. Not just abroad. Here." "What do you mean?" "Start something. Like a community program for empty nesters. Volunteering locally, maybe partnering with schools or shelters. Help others find purpose too." His eyes lit up. "That sounds like you, Em. Let's make it happen." The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. Emily quit her dental job, politely, with notice, and threw herself into planning. She reached out to local nonprofits, using skills she'd honed abroad. Organizing, teaching, connecting. Her first event was a workshop at the community center. Life after the nest. Finding your next chapter. 20 women showed up, sharing stories over coffee and donuts. One, a widow named Karen, echoed Emily's pain. "I thought I was alone in this." "You're not," Emily said, hugging her. "We're in it together." Sarah flew in for a weekend, Jason Skyped from college. Family dinners revived, but now with Emily's tales sparking conversations. "Mom, you're inspiring me," Sarah said one night, eyes misty. "I always saw you as supermom, but now, you're superhuman." Michael noticed the shift too. Their marriage, strained by silence, reignited. Date nights at that Italian place in Lincoln Park. Walks along Lake Michigan, talking like they did in their 20s. "I fell in love with you all over again," he whispered one evening, as they watched the sunset from their porch. But healing wasn't linear. Some days Emily still felt the ache, glancing at Jason's empty room, or seeing a mom with toddlers at the grocery store. She'd journal then, or call Aisha via WhatsApp, bridging worlds. Zawadi sent drawings through the organization, stick figures of American Mama building schools. A year later, Emily's program had grown. Roots Renewed, she called it, named after Aisha's wisdom. They volunteered at Chicago shelters, tutored kids in underfunded schools, even organized a fundraiser for the Tanzanian village. At the annual gala, held in a rented hall downtown, Emily stood at the podium, voice steady. "I was lost once, staring at an empty driveway. But I found that purpose isn't given, it's built brick by brick with others." The crowd applauded, but it was the quiet moments that mattered. A thank you note from a participant, Michael's proud smile, Zawadi's latest photo showing the classroom full of students. Emily Harper wasn't erased. She was rewritten, stronger, fuller, alive. And in the quiet of her home, now filled with new plans and laughter, she knew this was just the beginning.